Good afternoon. Welcome to another Apex 30-minute Thursday. Today we're going to be covering Finance and Supply Management, FSM Asset Management. And I'll go ahead and give you just a little bit of an overview about Apex itself. I'm sorry, the agenda first. We'll do a little bit of an overview. I'll give an introduction for your speaker for today, and then we're going to show asset management overview, the asset management best practices, and a summary. Greg is going to be, I'll be introducing him shortly. He's actually going to be in the system for part of this. So it's going to be a mixture of a PowerPoint and a live demonstration on this particular topic. Just a little bit about Apex. We're a division of ASGN, serving 300 of the Fortune 500 in all major industries. Our solutions are highly scalable and deliverable nationally with over 180 unique IT skill sets in over 70 branch locations across the US, Europe, and India. Without going into all 18 areas of our solution offerings here at Apex, our consultant practice offers global solutions per industry through digital innovations like Infor Epic and Agile, workforce mobilization through staffing to support any size implementation, and our modern enterprise solutions covering migrations to standing up a PMO and running it for you. Next, please. Most of all, our Infor practice works with clients beyond the cloud, offering the right services at the right time. Before the project, our advisory service guides the client through the selection process and assesses organizational readiness through process review and design. We offer total program governance and change management services to start clients off on the right foot for their implementation. During the project, we offer prescriptive guidance to reduce risk, duration, and cost. And after the project, managed services helps clients to sustain their investment through on-demand services, staff augmentation, and incident support to be your partner before, during, and after the project. So today's presenter, I'll let Greg introduce himself. Thank you very much. This was Ann Weirheim, the Infor Practice Director at Apex, and I'll let Greg take it over.
Thank you, Greg. Very much, Ann. I appreciate the introduction. As Ann stated, my name's Greg Patterson. I'm a solutions consultant here at Apex. I currently work to implement the Infor finance side at multiple clients, some of them being hospital clients and a wide variety of other industries. Today, we are going to talk a little bit about asset management as an overview, just to give some of our attendees who may not be completely familiar with asset management some understanding of what it can do and how it could be used. And then after we give you a little bit of an overview about what asset management can do for your organization if you're already on FSM or considering migrating to it, we'll walk you through some of the best practices we found recently with asset management. And we'll look at some of them specifically in the system. So to get us started, asset management is an integrated enterprise asset management system within the FSM application. It provides you specific ability to manage your assets and asset accounting based on how your enterprise is set up. You can use different locations, you can use different groups, geographical areas, tax authorities, all sorts of other values that you need that are specific to assets are contained in the asset accounting module of FSM. And they kind of allow you to build out your asset configuration based on how your enterprise needs to manage, track, and report on its assets. The solution also has a built-in barcoding feature if you want to use it that can be used to tag and number assets. It also gives you a robust inventory system if you need to perform physical inventory on your assets, and also allows you to report on your assets and post to the general ledger all in a module that looks and feels like the rest of your FSM system. Asset management also handles a wide variety of depreciation scenarios and contains, as I said earlier, a robust out-of-the-box reporting feature that you can use to report on many of the needs in different areas of asset management that arise. Asset management is also capable of handling property sale and exchanges, recapture, and helping you with mid-quarter conversion calculations as well. And it even recently was updated to support our IRS Form 4562, which is your depreciation and amortization form, and 4797, which is the sale of business property. So it's a very robust solution for a wide variety of customers and industries. Its power comes in the fact that it's a bit flexible in its structure inside of the asset subledger, as it's called, if you have the full FSM suite. But if you are a customer considering or you already have it and are looking to perhaps improve it, we have some best practices for you that help you use some of all of these robust features that we'll talk about next. And I've kind of displayed them on the screen here for you, but we'll shortly move into looking directly in the system. The 5 key best practices that we've identified that we found help most of our customers are laid out before you. They involve using a new, or I'd say rather recent feature, which is our workspaces, which we're going to look at here in a second. Making sure we've configured our locations and our divisions and owners for assets to meet our reporting needs. Also looking at how we can use asset templates to have a consistent asset creation experience, and also how the asset interface lets you interface assets from other FSM systems. So if you're using asset accounting along with payables, for instance, which we'll talk about in that example, we'll look at some of the features that come from using an asset template, the third best practice with number 4. And then we'll talk just slightly about some of the things we've seen some customers have benefited from by rethinking or looking at how their books are configured. So give me 1 second. We'll switch over to our demonstration environment. So our first best practice is to look and use the workspaces for asset managers and asset accountants. And here in a moment, you should be able to see one of our asset manager workspaces. So I'm sorry, here we're looking at the asset accountant workspace at FSM. Workspaces were a recent addition to FSM and a few recent upgrades, but they have a lot of power with them. When a workspace is created, a user can have actionable items and information presented to the user so that they can quickly take action on different things they need to work on. So here our asset accountant Ted has a quick action menu that lets him view end-of-life assets, create assets from a template, copy assets, transfer, or quickly dispose. We've also given him ability to manage assets, which links directly to the asset dashboard, which we'll see shortly, the close dashboard, some of our reports and template interfaces, as well as items, our project interfaces, and our transaction listing. All of these quick elements here link directly into the FSM application. And all it's going to do, if you notice here when I click on Manage Assets, is take us directly into our Infor Asset Manager dashboard for all the assets under the asset manager profile. So it serves really as a home page, but also kind of an orientation page for users who might have multiple roles in the enterprise, or even a user that is just an asset accountant, but wants to have a single point to come in to make sure things look and feel similar for all users once they access the system. These workspaces are highly customizable. Infor is giving you some initial examples that you can use, and you can always edit. To add a new workspace, you just simply need to use your navigation menu, and under the workspaces, click Add a Workspace. And as long as you have the permission, you'll be able to look at some of the workspaces that are in the catalog that are pre-configured, as I talked about here. And Infor has already created a wide variety of existing workspaces that you can choose from as a starting point. Once you choose a workspace, though, you can quickly edit and change the modules. Let's say if you didn't want a progress bar or a radar or capitalization box, by just editing the workspace in the right-hand corner here. Once you click Edit, this allows you to move widgets around, resize them, redirect where they are. You can also add new widgets here as well. And there are a wide variety of different widgets pre-created by Infor, as well as the ability for you, if you're a more advanced technical user, to create and publish unique widgets for your enterprise. All of this can serve as a great feature for your asset team. It allows you, as I said, to make a landing page for your asset accountants and even for your asset manager, as I'm showing here as a second window, right? So that the asset manager and asset accounting teams have views of the information that they're going to find useful or interesting or necessary when they come and log into the system. Our next best practice was configure asset locations, divisions, and owners to match your reporting needs. We're going to go directly into the FSM application here, and we're starting at our Manage Assets page. One of the useful things in asset management is it is already given, or sorry, already created a wide variety of pre-created reports that can be used. But making sure that those reports are actually useful requires you to, of course, complete the setup steps that are going to be able to report the information the way that you want to. Asset locations give you the option to define the locations your assets are stored so that you can have more control and more information about where they are, right? And asset divisions allow you to group assets in a certain manner that lets you divide them out in different manners that don't have to necessarily match perhaps your FEG structure or other values in the system. When you create an asset location, as we are showing here, that information is just stored right only in the asset management module. But you can also define your district, your country, locality, and other tax jurisdictions. You can keep address information and you can store a wide variety of other details related to this asset location, all within the FSM system. Doing this keeps this kind of in a single place, provides you a single point of information, and allows you later when you're running some of the asset reports to only look at assets maybe that you want to see at if you were in this system a Philly site or maybe only at your headquarters. Asset divisions allow you to divide assets up at another level. Let's say maybe if your company only works with 2 asset companies, but you maybe have 3 different divisions that you want to track assets using, as we have here. Divisions are just simply another reporting tag that can be used in the asset accounting ledger that allows you to, again, see your assets grouped by a different structure than may be used in other parts of the system. Configuring both the divisions and the location elements together to match what your enterprise uses will allow you really to take advantage of the power of FSM, which comes from a lot of the out-of-the-box reporting, and then some of the more advanced reporting features that come from columnar, and burst reports. So I think we've covered our first 2 best practices. Our third was to use asset templates for consistent asset creation. And asset templates are a very great feature that allows you to streamline the asset creation, both inside of asset accounting and from other applications. I'm going to switch over here to another recently added aspect, the Assets web app here. And that assets icon in the web app is just a little bit more of a streamed down menu that shows all elements of the asset application instead of maybe if you're using Asset Analyst or Asset Manager. And I'm going to look at our administration and look at some of our templates here in this demo environment that we've set up. Asset templates allow you to predefine a lot of the values that are necessary in order to create an asset. And here we have 3 created, one for fixed equipment, one for major movable, one for minor movable. When you create an asset template, you'll set its asset category, the account group, and the dimension group. You can also define locations and divisions. You can default certain transaction dimensions that you need to, certain projects, and also attach specific books as well, where you know the assets are going to be stored. By including all this information on a template, you ensure that this is all completed when this template is used and the asset transaction is created from it. Defining an asset template basically allows you to pre-set up all the details that are necessary to make sure an asset's properly created within your enterprise and gives you a little bit more advanced power and control over how assets come into the asset accounting system when they're purchased or interfaced from elsewhere. You can extend your use of asset templates by looking at asset templates through other applications, specifically in the payables system. The asset template I'm looking at now here on the screen allows you to pull in payables, invoices from payables, project interface records, and other asset interface records that use this template. To use an asset template, we're going to click over and look at an invoice, for example, here. This is an example invoice we've put inside of the system. This is already released, but here on the distributions tab in the payables application, you can define at the distribution level what type of asset was purchased in this line so that it interfaces over to the asset management application using the template values that you set. So here we're looking at the shoe line invoice. We're at our distribution lines. We're going to double click inside to see this distribution line. And here we see, not on the first tab, but on the second tab, the options tab, we have an asset flag. This is normally available for you to select if this was a new invoice, but since this is one we've already done to kind of demonstrate it, it's showing you that the flag already indicated that it's an asset. And if we click here for view asset detail, we see it's using our asset template. We've defined a quantity, a description. Within this template setup in payables, we could add a tag, a group. We could hold this asset if we know that we're waiting on additional work or other elements. We could define the location and the division. We can also add the individual items that might make up this asset if there's additional detail to keep. And if this was an asset we were repairing, we could add the repair elements of this distribution charge, all from that advanced asset screen on the payables distribution. But using an asset template to create assets from payables ensures that the template is going to define all the values that you would like created on the asset and ensure that they're all completely filled in for you. You can also use, like we were showing earlier, not just the invoice, because here's the invoice we just looked at. You could also use asset templates if you're using the project ledger. When you capitalize transactions or amounts from the project ledger, you do have the ability to use asset template values in that capitalization process. And you also have the ability to interface other asset records from other systems using templates as well. So this is really a best practice that's recommended primarily because it gives you major control over keeping your asset books clean and properly set up. Let's go back to our PowerPoint presentation to look at one of our final best practices and a few other elements. So we talked about how we can use workspaces as a landing page for asset managers and accountants. We talked a little bit about how using locations and divisions and even on assets assigning some of your owners can give you better reporting needs. We looked at how templates can make consistent asset creation and ease inside of not only asset accounting, but if you're interfacing those assets from the payables application or the project ledger. And our last best practice we recommend is for you to evaluate your asset book configuration. And we'll look at a slide here first to kind of help understand this. And then we'll look inside of the FSM system just to kind of look at how books are set up. So books in asset management are global and they can be used across multiple companies. Generally, when you start asset management, a book is created, but they can be defined and assigned to any depreciable asset, and you can create additional books almost at any time, depending on your asset situation. There are two types of asset books. Regular asset books, or asset books as they are called, are used just for assets that depreciate individually. So these are the most common type. Most FSM customers that are either currently on the application or will be migrating to it have an asset book or will have an asset book that contains all of their individually depreciated assets. There's also an option to have an asset class book, and this can be used for assets that are depreciated as a group. If there's a single large purchase or a large asset block that you need to depreciate as one single unit, you can also use an asset class book to group and put those assets, or I'm sorry, put that asset as a class book. You can define as many variations as are required to accommodate your depreciation needs and your valuation requirements. So you can have more than one asset book if you have different tax needs or different depreciation needs that you need to group by. But reviewing whether or not a single book or multiple books is necessary can always help improve your asset management system and improve the methods in which you report on your assets, because it gives you a lot of additional ability when you have an asset book that might be separated that has different details. Looking at our example environment for this in action, if you give me 1 second, we'll switch over. So in our demo environment, we currently have two asset books. We have one primary asset book, which is our full month convention for depreciation, and we have another. In our first asset book, as I was saying, you can define the book currency, which is another factor to consider if you're a customer that has multiple currencies, and maybe reporting on assets in a different currency is something you need to do for a new division or company you're adding. You could create a separate asset book to hold those assets in that currency as well. Same thing if you have different conventions or you have a different level of depreciation or regulations that you want to track. All of that is trackable through use of a different asset book. In our system, we have one for our core assets, and then we have another one that's really designed to house our hospitality assets, since this is a system designed to demo for a hospitality customer. But creating your books and creating additional calendars if necessary typically help some customers who have been running on the application for a while, maybe streamline the reporting, and also allows them to do more advanced depreciation activity that might be necessary depending on their enterprise needs. Let's come back and take a look. So, in summary, we talked about kind of the overall benefit of asset management, that it's an advanced enterprise asset management solution right within FSM. We talked about how it has not only the ability to track assets at locations and divisions in a variety of different levels, but it also has the ability to barcode and help with inventory activity related to assets. We looked at the FSM workspace feature, which can enhance user adoption and navigation by giving you kind of a functional or an enterprise landing page with actionable information for all of your users. Workspaces aren't specific to asset management. So for FSM customers already on the application, you can use workspaces for HR pages, for other finance pages, for a wide variety of applications within your FSM system, but they all provide that same landing or user experience feature that allows everybody to come into a single point and then navigate the system from there. Asset templates, which we looked at a little bit, enable consistent and automated asset creation within FSM. It allows you to define values for an asset that will be used at the time of its creation. It also allows you to interface assets in a consistent manner from other applications, such as the payable system, the project ledger, and the asset interface. And then we talked about how updates to our asset book configuration, our locations and our divisions, and even some of our type settings can align asset accounting to suit your reporting needs. FSM, again, has several reports within the system that allow you to report out any number of different details that you need from the asset application, and making sure that you have these elements aligned to meet your reporting needs allows you to take advantage of all of those features inside of the system without maybe the need for so many custom reports or even some custom reports at all. That brings us to the end of our 30-minute Thursday today. If you have questions, we do have an email address up for you to send some of those to us. But we appreciate your attention, of course, and thank you for attending.